Less than 3 weeks away from the start of the 2025 NFL draft, the Breece Hall trade rumors are somewhat heating up. Does that mean the Jets could take Ashton Jeanty with the seventh overall pick if he's still on the board on April 24th? We'll get into that and much more, all coming up here on a Saturday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk with our draft analyst, Cole Thompson.
J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here to another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk here on this Saturday, April 5th, 2025. Can't thank you all enough for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button and you are subscribed to the channel. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly. Paid way to help us grow, we'll throw the ticker on down below. You can get into our membership raffle. Every membership gifted or $2.99 super chat gets you a raffle entry. The prize we're giving away this month, we got some good ones. 6 total prizes. The prizes include a Don Maynard signed photo, Joe Klecko signed helmet, Joe Namath Super Bowl III replica ring, CJ Mosley signed jersey, a free item from our merch store, and a channel emoji. So make sure you get in on that if you haven't already. April's underway, which means we have a new raffle. So I can't thank you enough for all your support here on the show. Joining me right now, our guy in his weekly spot, draft analyst Cole Thompson, kind enough to grace us with his presence. And Cole, happy to hear that you're alive and well despite the Wi-Fi issues down in Texas.
Yeah, it's so much fun trying to go ahead and rewire a fan, knowing that if you touch one bad wire, even with the circuit breaker off, if it flicks on, you are about ready to call 911 or pray to God that somebody is around to save you from burning alive. But yeah, it's been my Saturday. I'm glad that I'm finally on, and we can talk Jets, we can talk Breece Hall trade rumors, we can talk Ashton Jeanty, why at this point everything and anything should be on the table with that guy, and why, as you can see right down below, the Jets should draft anybody but the name that's listed currently that some people want at pick number 7. So, we can just do that too.
That's where I'm going to start, Cole, because we heard that the Jets and the Raiders, 2 quarterback-needy teams ahead of the Saints, had absolutely no presence down at the Colorado, whatever was called, something showcase, not even a pro day. Yeah. None of the Jets representatives were there, despite, a lot of the Shedeur Sanders Jets rumors. My question to you is, why for the Jets is it anyone but Sanders?
Because I just don't believe in him as a first-round quarterback. I mean, I don't believe in either one as a first-round quarterback, but at least you can convince me, hey, Cam Ward coming on in, playing in 3 different stylistic offenses, learning how to play from the wing tee back in high school to a more air raid pro style when he was at Washington State to a complete air raid style when he was at Miami. I can believe those are things that will eventually transition into the NFL, whether that be good, bad, indifferent. It will at least make it to the NFL. So I can understand if you're a quarterback needy team, you go after a guy like that. I look at several of the minute things that Shedeur Sanders does well, and that is probably his biggest asset. They're minor details in his mostly negative game. And so when I look at that, and I am a team and an organization with a brand new offensive coordinator, with a brand new head coach, with a brand new GM, do I really want to start off my regime drafting a quarterback that 2 years from now will be at the same level we were when we were talking about Zach Wilson, when we were talking about Kenny Pickett, we were talking about all these guys who eventually never hit their stride or found their way or were able to kind of pigeonhole what was going to be their identity for a team, and they are now backups. They now are trying to find it throughout the NFL. And then as an organization, Daryl Muji, is he going to be able to stick around for a 3rd season if it's a failed experiment with Shedeur? What's going to happen with Aaron Glenn, a guy who I believe is a very good coach? And honestly, at this point, why not go either defense or just build when it comes to the safe route with an offensive lineman? Why not do those things just to make sure that the foundation of the organization and the identity of this new Jets era is about stability, and not going for the wow factor? Yeah, it's amazing that Shedeur Sanders, a kid that started off his career despite being looked at by multiple Power 1 schools, started off at the SWAC level and took Colorado to at least a respectable era. You got to give credit there. But you also have to look at all the minute little things that stood out that eventually hurt Colorado's chances of going and playing for a Big 12 championship and even a college football playoff berth. So you add all that together and you say to yourself, These are things that I need from a project quarterback. If you're picking in the top 10, you're not going after a project quarterback. You're going after a guy that you think can come on in day one, compete for a starting job, be a playmaker, and more importantly, a piece of your future realistic expectations for 2025 and beyond. And I look at Shedeur Sanders and I say to myself, if he was available at the end of round one, and I know that I am good at my offensive line, I am good at my wide receiver spot, and I'm okay moving up from pick number 42 to 31 or making a phone call to Philadelphia and saying, hey, I'll give you a second round pick next year and I'll give you my second round pick this year. And then taking Shedeur, okay, that's fine. But at seven, I don't think any team should be taking Shedeur Sanders at 7, let alone in the first round if we're not talking about a Lamar Jackson 2.0 situation.
This is what I'll say, Cole. I feel like if you have your guy, whoever it is, like I think if the Jets have their eye on Shedeur Sanders, for example, I don't think the Jets are going to want to trade back. I think if they really like Shedeur Sanders, they're going to take him at 7, and I hope that's not the case. I don't view anyone in this class as a franchise guy. Cam Ward, for me, I think is going to be the best quarterback in this draft class. I think Will Howard's going to have the second best career out of anyone in this year's draft.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big Will Howard.
Yeah.
I love him as a fit for the Jets, someone who can make plays, throws in and outside the pocket, someone who's
but do you like him as a fit for the Jets, say in round 2, or do you like him as a fit for the Jets in like round 3 or round 4?
Round 3 or round 4. I put an article out for Jets X Factor where it was the top developmental guys I want them to go after. I put Milrow at 3, I put McCord at 2, and I put Howard at 1. Those are the top 3 guys I would want them to go after if they want to take the developmental route. Before we fire up our mock now for the second week in a row, I want to get your thoughts on another player from Colorado. It's kind of something someone I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are not too familiar with because he doesn't have the highest draft stock in the world. It's an FAU transfer, someone I've had my eyes on for about a year or two now, and that's Jeanty Wester. He's a smaller guy, under 6 foot, could provide you some special teams juice, solid numbers at Colorado this past season. What do you think Wester's draft stock looks like? Is he a late day 3 guy, undrafted guy? What do you have on him?
You're talking about the wide receiver, right?
Yeah, Jeanty Wester.
Yeah. Probably a late day 3 guy. You know, the thing about him is that there was nothing that really stood out about his game other than the speed. He didn't have a great catch. He didn't have a great catch radius. He didn't have a great route tree. The offense was very simplistic for Colorado to allow the wide receivers to win their one-on-one battles. So there's going to be a lot of teaching for him. But again, if you have speed and you have at least a decent overall frame and you do a good job of tracking the ball, and you brought this up, Connor, if you can make yourself expendable, and this is just kind of something in life, if you want to work in broadcasting and you want to work in radio or television and you know how to film your B-roll and you know how to fire up the board and you know how to play sound and cut up audio and you still can talk, well, eventually when people start losing their jobs because they're getting furloughed, you're going to have to do more work. But guess what? You've proven yourself as a viable asset. And so that's the same thing with Wester. If you're talking about him, if he can show that he adds value on special teams, he was a little bit of a special teams player when he was at Colorado last season. I think that there's a role for him. Definitely round 7 type feel, early undrafted free agent to pay attention to. And I think that in the right system, again, there is a role for him in the NFL. But if he's not, I mean, you can go to the UFL, prove that you are one of the best talents that has ever existed in the level, and then you turn to Devontae Turpin and get a 3-year, $29.1 million deal. So there's ways around it to get back to the NFL.
Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Any questions, throw them in the chat. Call in with the pinned comment. Cole, I want to get your thoughts now on the Breece Hall trade rumors before we talk Jeanty. We're hearing, and it makes sense overall if you look at the Breece Hall trade rumors, because this is someone who is coming off a down year, fumbled the ball 6 times, his overall production dipped in pretty much every single main category. What do you think would be a fair return for Breece Hall?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're talking about just going after Jeanty, so we're saying Jeanty, no, like Omari and Hampton at pick 7 or something like that, which by the way,
Jeanty.
Okay, because I will say this, and this is just a draft nugget that I can tell you guys from speaking to some people around the league. Hampton is going top 15. Like Omari and Hampton will not be there when the Denver Broncos are on the board at 20. Some team is going to take Omari and Hampton. It's going to be very similar to what we saw with 2023 Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like that's what we can expect for this team. The problem is, Connor, I feel like the only team that you can trade into is the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, and the reason I say that is because of everyone that I've spoken to believes at this point he's going to Las Vegas. Like Jeanty will not be there at 7 unless you're trading up to like say 5 to take him because the Raiders are all in on him. So could you trade him to the Raiders and get maybe like a 4th round pick in return and then call it like Michael Mayer or something like that to sweeten the deal? Maybe. Could you maybe give a 5th round pick and get Michael Mayer in return? Maybe. If you really wanted to play hardball, maybe ask for a compensatory 3rd round pick and see if that would work, where I think the Raiders have like pick number 98 or 99 or something like that. You can make that type of deal. But like that's probably what you're getting. Because the problem is also, Connor, you're getting a guy that's going into a contract year. So yes, the numbers are really good, but it looks at his overall production as a leading running back. Yes, there is some positivity when it comes to his style of play and what he provides for an offense. But any team that's going to bring him on in, they're going to have the exact same conversation the Jets are having right now. What is he worth? Should we pay him? Should we extend him before the franchise tag we have to pull on out? And how much is this going to cost us on the open market to where the value is going to be back? So teams are going to be weary about taking on a running back that's fumbled 6 times last year, drastically saw his numbers regress when it comes to yards after contact, saw his numbers regress when it came to total yards of scrimmage, and is going to want to get paid based off of what he did in 2023 and what he's done in 2022 before the torn ACL. Like, he's going to want to get paid for that type of stuff. So I think that you're going to have to say to yourself, can I get like a 4th round pick and a proven player, or like a 4th round pick and a 2026 4th round pick? Because of then it feels like fair compensation. I would ask for a 2023 compensatory pick if possible in the 3rd round.
This is the mock draft, Cole, I released for Jets X Factor, and the theme was trading Breece Hall, so that's why I'm pulling it up. I had him going to the Denver Broncos in exchange for the 85th overall pick in this year's draft.
So 3rd round pick.
Yeah, 3rd round pick.
Okay.
I'm not a Breece Hall. I think it's delusional for those who say we should be getting at least a 2nd round pick for Hall. That's a pure delusion.
No.
The reason I have them getting the 85th overall pick here, first, I mentioned it. Easy to connect the dots. Muji comes from Denver. Denver needs running backs. Aaron Glenn, Sean Payton relationship. Boom, there you go. 85th overall pick. And that, like, if you wanted to allocate the 85th overall pick to a running back, I'm sure you can get a solid one. Like, Cam Scatteraboo is a name who you don't think he'll be there at 85?
I think I would take him at 85. He has so many injury issues right now, and he hasn't been able to work out at any pro day. He didn't work out at the Big 12 Open Pro Day. I would say day 3 at this point, just for a guy that I don't know what his speed is. I don't know what his durability is. I don't know what he did this past year was a flash in the pan, or if it's actually going to be sustainable at the NFL level. So I have a 5th round grade on him. Like, I think he's a really talented player, but I think that there's so many other running backs that I know can come on in and be plug and play starters from week 1 and maybe be at least somewhat of a valuable secondary option if need be before I trust Cam Scatteraboo. And it's an insult, and I know it is, but when you don't work out throughout the offseason, when there's been conversations about what your lower body is dealing with, and when you don't do any numbers at the pro day, at any pro day, Arizona State's in the Big 12 one, and you don't work out in Indianapolis, it does hurt your draft grade. Now, again, he may end up proving me wrong and saying I'm the best running back in the class, and it wouldn't shock me, but in such a deep running back class, when you have guys like Caleb Johnson potentially going to be there at pick 85 out of Iowa, you talk about maybe getting a guy like Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State.
He's 2nd round, I think. I think he's 2nd or 3rd round.
But like any one of those guys could be there too, just because if there's not a run on running backs.
What about Damian Martinez from Miami?
I would say early day 3. Like I think like round 4 is where I would probably have him.
All right, yeah. So I got the 85th pick, and then we're just I was gonna skim through these picks here, and then we'll do our mock. I had Jeanty at 7 because you trade Breece. I said you get Jeanty in, and I'm sure a lot of people see this right away, and they're like, oh my God, you trade Breece, you draft Jeanty at 7. People forget this is someone who had nearly 2,000 yards after contact, forced over 150 missed tackles, and was a Heisman finalist as a running back. Stats aside, I think a lot of people can recognize that Jeanty is a very, very talented football player, and he's one of few generational talents in this class. Here's my explanation here on why it would make sense, especially after trading Breece. The Jets are not squeezed in this win-now mode, this win-now window where they have 2 seasons to win, and that is absolutely it. They're kind of in I know this team's rebuilding. They're rebuilding. I don't like the term retool. This team is rebuilding at this point. You have an expanded window. Aaron Glenn spoke a lot about building sustained success. That's something he emphasized during his opening presser. Well, you might as well take the best player available and the best player who's going to come in and make an impact for you. And I think if Jeanty's on the board still with the 7th overall pick, this would be great. And I reference it later down here in the article. People mention Aaron Glenn taking Penei Sewell when he first got there. How about the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs in 2023, despite having David Montgomery under contract? That caused a lot of controversy. So that's where I am right now overall. And so that's why I took Jeanty. And then I'll just go through the rest of the picks here quickly, and I'll get your thoughts. I had Connor Lee Jr. at 42.
Okay.
Jack Besh at 73.
Sure.
Lathan Ransom. I was thinking about taking Winston. I just don't like him coming off that season-ending injury. I don't want to roll the dice there.
Penn State safety.
Yeah,
he tested really well though. So I mean, I get it. If the reason is the injury concern, I can buy into it. But I think that Winston's better than Ransom as a safety.
Okay.
Just a pure player. I think he's a better player.
Fannin Jr. 110. Kobe King 145. Jackson Hawes 162, Tonka Hemingway 186, and Ryan Fitzgerald 207. Cole, honest grade on that mock?
I give it a solid B.
Okay.
The main reason why, and you picked up Connor Lee, which again, if it ends up being that way on Friday night and Connor Lee's there at 42 and you get him, that's a great move. The problem is that the thing that I have said when it comes to if you're going to follow the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes path, go get the big time safe, sturdy offensive lineman at pick number 7 as a foundational guy that you know that you're going to have as a building block for this new regime for years to come. And then 2 years from now, when you feel that your team is getting a little bit of that spice and you want to add in a little bit of that pizzazz and you feel really good about the other positions and the foundation of the team, go surprise some people and bring in a running back, which is what they did, because remember, they had 2 drafts before they brought in Jahmyr Gibbs and they brought in Jack Campbell. They did that because of in the first 2 drafts they had, they brought in Penei Sewell, who was a surefire, guaranteed starter on the offensive line, probably would have been a decent left tackle, has become an all-pro right tackle. And then the next year they brought in Aiden Hutchinson, who, for my money, was probably the most pro-ready prospect of 2022. And so when they brought in that foundation, one guy on the offensive side, one guy on the defensive side, they knew that they had some collateral to go ahead and make a splash and do something a little bit out of left field. And they did by bringing in Gibbs. And Gibbs still, I thought, was a first-round player, but it was just the selection process. Like, if they would have landed, like here's the fun thing, dude. Like, if you look back at those redrafts of teams and how they go about it, nobody's complaining at Gibbs at pick number 12. Nobody's doing that. And the same thing, like,
that's what I noted in the article. Again, like if Detroit wouldn't think twice about making that.
And then if you just switched it, if you switch where you put where you pick Jack Campbell with Brian Branch, who's become an all-worldly safety for you, and a just do it all defensive back. And then with that pick that you used Brian Branch on, I think it was like 37 or 38, you took Jack Campbell. Nobody's complaining about who 1, you have. You're just doing the different order of it. And like that's what you got at this point. So it's like a part of me just says you're putting such an emphasis on Jeanty living up to all these worldly expectations as what he did in college. If you're taking him at pick number 7, when you have a need at tight end, when you have a need at offensive line, and when you have a need at what was the other one that we always? Who's the other play that we always mock there?
At 7?
Wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. Ted. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like I said, you're not in a win now mode where you have to get the best player on the board. And I think where do you think Jeanty's going to stack up when all's said and done among players in this draft class? Do you think he'll go down as the best player in this draft class?
No, but I think he'll definitely go down as top 5. I mean, if you're asking me from a surefire standpoint, this kid is going to hit. The only player that I have ever said at running back that I truly believed was going to hit, and there would be no questions asked. Who do you think it is?
Saquon.
No. I had questions on Saquon, which is wrong of me. Again, but that was never my thought.
Jeanty's the best running back people have scouted to say. I think, can you admit that? The best running back coming out since Saquon?
No, because here's the reason. Because the guy that I think it was the safest prospect in the draft was a running back, and it was Bijan Robinson.
Wow.
I had
him on my fantasy team his rookie season.
I thought when Bijan came out of Texas somebody asked me, who was the one player you would bet your career on will have a stellar NFL career? And I said it was going to be Bijan. And so far he's lived up to it. He has. But like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like he's in that Bijan level. Like I would say Bijan has a hair above him. Like it's just a slight hair above Jeanty, who is right below Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, yeah, he could end up, I think he'll be the best running back in this draft. I think he'll be the most utilized running back in this draft. But I do look at this class and I say to myself, there are players that I think could hit. I think in the right system, Quinshon Judkins could absolutely be a home run hitter. I think that Omarion Hampton could easily be one of the best running backs in the NFL by the end of the year. I think Caleb Johnson is getting slept on a little bit at this point. I think that he is a phenomenal playmaker, good low center of gravity, got that bowling ball type of bouncing off of tackles, making plays left and right. That kind of feel that what you want in your running back room. And you're probably going to get him in round 3. So it's like, if I'm the Jets and I were to get that 85th overall pick, I feel more confident at 73 taking a Caleb Johnson or hoping that a Quinshon Judkins falls to me, or even take Quinshon at pick 42.
I love Quinshon.
Go take Quinshon at pick 42, and then when you're at 73, go draft your wide receiver.
Besh.
And at 85, go draft Elijah Arroyo from Miami. And now you get your tight end, you get your offensive lineman at 7, you still get your running back 1, and also you get yourself a wide receiver 2. Like, to me, that feels better than what I'm going to be dealing with an offensive line. Again, who are you starting at right tackle right now, Connor?
Probably Chukwuma Okorafor.
Okay, do you want that for Justin Fields?
No, but you can get someone in one of the later rounds.
Can you though?
Yes.
Because you're trying to sell me. Connerly is the last guy that I believe.
Take him at 42.
I don't think he's going to be there. I think
I did like 7 simulations yesterday for that mock. He fell to me in all.
It's a mock draft.
Yeah,
That's the problem. Like that, Ricky Pearsall was going in round 3 of mock drafts. He was taken 31st. Xavier Legette was going at like pick 42, and he went to pick 32.
How about this? What would you think of this? You get Warren or Ted at 7. You get Warren or Ted at 7.
Sure. Okay, we'll do that.
One of those guys. Josh Connerly is sitting on the board at pick 28. I'll say that.
Yeah, trade up.
Trade up from 42.
I trade up and
would
go
you be open to that?
I would. That's what I would do.
Perfect.
And
that's
I think
like a
you
dream
have to,
if you think about it.
Because I look at everyone like Ozzie Trapillo. I know that so many Jets fans love Ozzie Trapillo, and I know the name, and I know people want him to come on into New York. He's not going to start week 1, and he may not start at all in 2025. And again, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. You got yourself a hopeful foundational piece long term, but now you got to wonder what's going to happen with Justin Fields. Do you feel good about the rest of your offensive line? Do you feel good about your offensive line if he had to start in a pinch? How do you feel about it? That's where my brain
Trapillo?
Yeah, Trapillo, if he had to start for like 3 games.
Here's I would be okay with that 1,000%. If he had to start 3 games, I'd be okay with that. My thing with Membu, again, we're going to get into the mock in a little, so I don't want to go down this Membu rabbit hole for a long time. What I have to say about Membu, though, overall is the thing that concerns me most is the value for a right tackle with the 7th overall pick is 1. Second off, this is someone who was viewed as an end of the 1st round, early 2nd round type guy till he goes into the combine and has those crazy. I think that's fair to say. He was in the 20s. He was in the 30s.
He was okay. I will push back a little bit. He was in the late teens, early 20s before the combine.
Okay, so why should he be selected at 7 now, all of a sudden now?
Because honestly, he should have been in the top 15 to begin with, for my money.
He was a top Will Johnson 20 at first, though. Like what? Didn't you want Will Johnson as a potential fit at first for the Jets?
Yeah, no, I did. Like,
okay. But then they signed Stevens. Yeah, they signed.
Yeah, Stevens. I stand on this because of I didn't realize about what was going on with Stevens. I didn't realize that he was going to be the starting corner. But also losing DJ Reed at the time, it opened up an avenue. Now you got Stevens locked up, so he's starting somewhere on the field. With that type of money, he's starting on the field. So it takes Johnson out. But if I could land a guy that I think has better footwork than most people give credit to, I think he has great vision. And more importantly, I think that he is an adapt and play type of mentality defensive back. And he gets to provide that type of value in a secondary where he gets to be the number 2 corner opposite of Sauce. That to me is not a losing formula. If, let's say, your top 2 guys were gone. Let's say Warren goes at pick number 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then Ted McMillan goes pick number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders, and you don't want to go after an offensive lineman. Then I can understand why you would make that type of pick. But still, I don't think that anymore because Stevens is locked on up. So that changes my entire trajectory, which means now I go with a dude like Membu, who, for me, the problem is that I understand where people come from when they're talking all about the negativity surrounding Josh Simmons' patella injury. It worries me too.
He was going to be a top 10 pick before, like, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, but like that's the point. Is that if he was going to be a top 10 pick before, why is he still not a top 10 pick?
Because
like you're so sold on him. Like I can argue the exact same thing when it comes to Membu. Membu, if he was always supposed to be a top 20 pick or like a late round one guy, why would he not be still a late round run guy because of after a good testing? Meanwhile, Josh Simmons was still a top 5 pick or a top 7 pick or the best offensive tackle in the draft before the injury. But you said all these things about the tape, so why is he now falling down mock draft boards? Like that to me is a question that you can have.
I get what you're saying there. 1,000%. Oh, I don't know what happened with my background there for a second.
Yeah, flying around. It's like
it was like thumbs up buttons. I was just in the YouTube settings, and then random stuff started playing. I get what you're coming for there, 1,000%. I understand the Warren arguments. I understand the Membu arguments, and I understand everything in between. Appreciate you tuning in. Smash the like, hit subscribe, throw all your questions in the chat, and call into the show with the pinned comment. Let's do let's get a mock going over here. Let's see what we can do. We had a solid mock last week, Cole.
I liked it. I don't care what Pro Football Focus said. I enjoyed the mock.
Yeah. The mock was really, really stout last week. You addressed pretty much every need. All right. Let's see where we're gonna go here. 7 Jets. I put it fully on public because even if I put it in between, they have Shedeur Sanders going in like the 4th round. So I gotta adjust that and then
like
boom.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. All right. Tet, Graham, Jeanty, Barron, Starks.
Who are the first 6 picks? Let's see that.
Ward.
Yep.
Hunter.
Yep.
Carter.
Okay.
Campbell.
Okay.
Membu.
Yep.
Warren.
So there we go.
What's there we go? Who are we taking?
Can you trade back?
Let's see. Bengals 17. Did you see the report with the Falcons today?
No, what was it?
Jeff Benedict, their insider, said apparently he's been told the Falcons have inquired about the 7th overall pick because they're trying to leapfrog the Panthers for Jalen Walker. And apparently they said it would be a pick swap this year and a 2026 first to slide for the Jets to slide
I would
down
do
8
that.
spots.
Here, let's humor me for a second. Because I gotta get my laptop charger because my laptop's about to die.
No problem.
Dude, see if you can get that pick. Just see if you can get it in this mock.
I don't think they're going to do it. I'll try, though, for sure. So, round 1 and 15 for 7. They're going to say no way. Yeah. Oh, no, they're not even interested. That's tough. Yeah. Why? Yeah, we can hop on that. Joe says, why are you not high on Graham? Why are you not high on hoping Graham, hoping Graham falls to the Jets? I'll tell you this, Joe. He's under 300 pounds. I don't want someone under 300 pounds playing next to Quinnen Williams. I want that big body who's going to clog up the middle for you. So that's why I'm not high on Mason Graham and why I'm not all over him with the 7th overall pick. Cole, they're not interested in trading for the pick, so we can either force it or we can just try to find another team. Oh yeah, I got you. We can try.
My microphone died on me. That was why.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. Be honest with me for about 5 seconds, buddy. Do you think that that's going to happen?
No.
So you don't think that they're going to do it?
No, I don't think the Falcons are giving up a 2026 first-round pick to come up 8 spots.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, so I'm going to tell you what I would do right now. Based off of my big board, I would take Mason Graham. And I already know how you feel. I've already heard you.
We can do it.
You want to do it?
Yep, perfect.
All right, do it.
All right, next you're up at 42. Oh, God, I already see. I would have loved Nick Scourton to kind of play that role, like where you could rotate. It like kind of
that buck linebacker, like edge type guy.
Yeah, John Franklin Myers role, like kind of you can plug and play with him across the whole defense, a versatile piece. They met with him at the pro day. So Tyler, I don't think Besh is gonna go this high. I really don't.
But I don't think he's gonna be there at 73. That's my only thing.
Yeah,
there's that middle ground. I go to offensive tackle. By the way, is Connor really there?
No. Wait, let me check. Probably not. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Where did he go? He went in the first. He went 32 to the Eagles.
Really? Where'd he go, Connor? He go round 1?
Yeah.
He go round 1? Oh, shocking.
32.
He went round 1. And a team needed an offensive tackle, and they said, hey, let's go ahead and make sure that we lock up a dude that could start in a pinch.
Dart went to the Giants.
In round 2, though, right?
Yeah, because they got Hunter in round 1. That's a good haul.
That's not bad.
Ursery, maybe top
Okay.
top 30 visit with him. I don't dislike Ursery. I think he's a solid player.
I think he's solid. I think he's big. And I think the problem is that when you get to that size, especially if you can't find a way to win with your footwork, they shift you inside and they just make you a really big guard. Like,
Yeah.
who was the guy? Daniel Fafale, I think is how you say his last name. He came from Minnesota a few years ago. He plays for the Baltimore Ravens. He's a guard now. He was a starting left tackle, like in college. Like he was just so big. Like he was like 6'7", 348 or 49 pounds. And you're like, you're too slow getting out of your breaks. We're shifting you inside to cover up all the faults. And like he's become a decent guard. So like that's my thing with Irisi.
Harrison's speedy. I just don't know if I want to use a second round pick that high in a corner. If Trey Amos or Azariah Thomas, the two guys who went ahead, were there, I think that's a different conversation.
See, Ravel, I still think is the best cornerback outside of the two that we've already talked about. We're talking with Hunter and Johnson.
I just think Ravel is gonna fall because of that injury. Like I think
it's a torn ACL. It's a big injury.
Yeah, I like.
And you don't play a position. And Princely, you. Okay, let me ask you. Do you want to go wide receiver or tight end here, or do you want to wait?
I really like Higgins. If you're going to go wide receiver, I'd go Higgins.
If you want to go wide receiver, go take Higgins right here. I don't mind that one. I think that's a fine pick.
We'll take the Higgins pick there. Benjamin Morrison. Wow, I remember over the summer, he was getting like first round.
He was top 10 pick.
Yeah,
he was number one. He was number 2 cornerback. I mean, like Will Johnson was going like a pick number 4 or 5, and then Ben Morrison was coming off like 10, 11. Like everyone was in on Morrison, and then the injury happened, and then other players got better, and he hasn't tested well. And it's like, okay, now I got some concern.
I think Mason Taylor is one of the most overrated players in this.
You think he's overrated?
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with you in a sense. I think he's overrated for this round 2 buzz that we're hearing.
He's a good round 4 player. Like I put him in the Terrence Ferguson category. I think
he's a round 3. I think he's a mid to late round 3 guy. That's my feel. Like if you were to take him here, I like that a lot better than the mocks I've seen him going at pick 42.
Oh, you can't pick him in the second round. That's criminal.
No, but there's mocks that are having it. I mean, Phil Yates did it.
Trapillo? Do we go Trapillo here? He's on the board.
Yeah, you 100% go Trapillo here. That's a fine pick.
Yeah. And then
if he's available, there you go. Take Trapillo.
I really like Makuba's numbers. The thing is, he's so light, and the tackle.
Makuba?
Yeah, from
Makuba is eventually either going to be a roaming free safety or he's going to be a special teamer. Like, there's no in between for him. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Just round 4.
Yeah, 1.
All right, you got to get a tight end. Go tight end.
We didn't take one yet. I was going to go Fannin, but of course he's off the board. I like Helm a lot, so I'm cool. You want to go Helm?
If Helm's there, I 100% go Helm.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, I would say wait until like you can go get like a Mitchell Evans or something like that.
Yeah, one of the later rounds.
This is 5th, right?
Yeah, Evans is there. Bowman's solid.
I like Bowman. I very much like Bowman. I think he is a rangy player that will miss an open field tackling at times, but I think he has the skills that you want in coverage to pair alongside with any physical run defending safety. Now he's a rotational guy early on in his career.
Do you know who? Do you know anything about Malachi Moore from Alabama? I'm not too familiar with him.
I know anything about Malachi Moore?
I'm not too familiar with him, and I was
Malachi played.
I heard there were like some off-field issues or something because that's what I heard from like listening to a few draft podcasts. I just heard his name come up, and then I was writing up Chad Reuter's mock, and he had him going to the Jets in the 5th round. So I did some research. I looked at his numbers. I haven't watched him yet. Do you know anything about him? Because
of course like I do. I'm a Bama grad. I watch him every weekend. I've watched him every weekend for like 4 years.
Give us some more insight.
He's played everywhere. Like that's the thing that's going to make him an NFL player is that he's had reps at cornerback. He's had reps at the nickel. He's played safety. He was a 2-time team captain. When Saban left, he decided to stick around. He wanted to be a part of the new regime. He was named a captain by Kalen DeBoer. He really is. It's not an insult to him, but his closing speed has fallen off every single year. It's been a problem. It's been something that has been an issue for ample time. And I think the part of the reason why they had him playing at safety is because of he couldn't play a cornerback. He couldn't play at nickel. And so they put him in the back end and be like, hey, your speed is not going to hurt you back here because you're the last line of defense. And he still whiffed and missed multiple assignments and missed multiple alignments and allowed far too many explosive plays. I think he's a 6th round guy. I think he is a depth piece that you want on your team to potentially have as like that special teamer that if he had to start for a game, you could make it work. But this is a guy that I think is going to get his opportunity to make an NFL roster because of special teams, and that'll be it. And he comes from a big time school, so he's played in big time environments.
He's like a 7th rounder though, like a 5th, 7th round.
I would say a 6th, 7th rounder is where I would take him.
Okay, because he was in the 5th round in Reuter's mock.
Now, if you really want to take a running back, which I'm not saying we do.
No, I wouldn't take a running back. I think if you take a running back, it has to be in rounds 1 through 3, and you have to trade Breece. That's the only scenario where I take a running back.
I would take one in round 7. Just screw it. Why not? If need be. If that's the best player available.
I would rather take a kicker in round 7 than a running back.
I will argue that if it comes to it. But like Jarquez Hunter's on the board. And Jarquez Hunter, I think, is going to have a very similar path to stardom the way that
I like Krosky Merritt a lot, but you'd have to take
he's a change of pace, dude. He was a really big time start in New Mexico. Flipped to Ole Miss, actually. Went to Ole Miss, never signed the papers, eventually went to Arizona, had a decent season replacing Jonah Coleman. He's going to be like that 3rd down swing on the out route type of running back that'll be a playmaker and have some value. But Tank Bigsby wasn't properly utilized underneath Brian Harsin, and it made him fall all the way, I think, to like the end of round 3 by the Jaguars. And when he got into this offense with Jacksonville, he finally started to figure things out. They let him be the running back that he was supposed to be for Auburn. History repeated itself with Hugh Freeze. Like, honestly, it's shocking that Jarquez Hunter led the SEC in rushing yards with how few attempts he got. So it's like, that's a dude to where in round 3, round 4, I would gladly take him. But if not, like, I can understand if not. What's available?
Bowman's Barron. I like Barron a lot.
As like a 3rd down rusher, yeah, 5th round works. Do you feel like that
you have Will McDonald though? Like at that point, if he's just going to be a 3rd down guy for you,
that's the problem. Is that do you think that Will McDonald's going to eventually turn into a 2 down guy?
I don't think Will McDonald's season last year was so overrated that he had 10 sacks playing only on 3rd down and couldn't stop the run to save his life.
Yeah, but he got 10 sacks, and that's what gets you paid.
Exactly.
I would say even if you're a number 3, it's what gets you paid.
Exactly. If you can just go in there on 3rd down and pressure the quarterback.
Okay, never mind. Just do it. He's available.
Who?
Kyle Williams. He's available.
Oh, Williams.
Just double down on wide receiver. There you go.
Yeah.
Double down. There you go.
Like a late
get yourself a big guy. Get yourself a small guy. Get yourself a catch radius guy. You're good.
Yep. All right. We got 3 more picks. Who's the tight end? We took Helm. Blocking isn't great. Hawes.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Stout. We didn't take a safety yet.
You need a linebacker. That's the only problem.
Is Kobe King still there?
Type it in.
No. Let's see. Simon, I know you like.
I like Simon. I do. But I think you can wait around.
All right, we can risk that.
All right, go get Jackson Hawes then. Go get Hawes. Because that's a guy I know that you like. That's a guy that I like.
Yeah, perfect.
Stutzman's solid.
There you go. Take Stutzman. There you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, they had a formal with him at the combine too.
Good.
I really like him.
All right, cool.
All right.
You want to take quarterback?
Is Shook gonna be there in round 6?
No, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be gone in round 3 or 4.
Okay, so we'll just do a kicker then. Who's the best kicker, Cole? Don't you have a vote in the kicker award?
Yeah, I picked the guy from freaking Michigan, but he wasn't the best kicker. He just had the best number that year.
Okay. Fitzgerald was perfect. I put him on my mock. We can switch it up though. Sauls is one I haven't seen in a little while, but I heard he's actually competent.
I would not take Caden Davis. That's the only dude I wouldn't take.
Why? What's wrong with him?
He just misses. Like he misses in clutch situations. He missed a kick against LSU. He missed the game tire against Kentucky that cost Ole Miss a chance to go to the college football playoff. He missed several against Florida. Like he just in clutch situations, he hasn't been able to be that. So
okay, so yeah, I don't want that guy on my team. Wasn't Borregales close to perfect?
I like Borregales personally, but I just wouldn't draft a kicker. That's just my 2 cents.
You wouldn't draft a kicker, okay?
No, I wouldn't. Because
who would you draft?
I'd take a quarterback here.
Brady Cook. That's the only one I'd be open to taking. Cook or Rourke. Those are the 2 guys.
Hold up, who else available? Let's just see quarterbacks.
Shuck. Let's not do Shuck though, because he's
not going to be there.
Rourke, Cook, Brosmer, who Matt Miller had the Jets selecting in the 5th round, but isn't he how old is he? Isn't he old? 24, yeah.
He's not like Shuck, who apparently I got made fun of because he was born in the same decade that I was born. Yeah, it was very funny. It hurt my feelings a lot.
Is Hannigan okay? I've heard mixed on him.
I don't think he's an NFL quarterback.
All right.
Personally,
Yeah.
I thought he was really good when Seth was awesome for Memphis for years.
I think who would you take?
I mean, I'll just take Shuck because he's available. But if we're not going to go
Like realistically.
probably Cook.
Okay.
Like if there was one, probably Brady Cook.
All right, we'll do that.
All right.
There we go. Solid. Let's see what we finish with. All right. They like Higgins. They like Beck more than Besh more than Higgins. Graham A+. That was all you. Higgins B+.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's solid. Trapillo, my guy.
A-.
Helms C. I don't get that.
Screw you. Dumbasses.
Williams B-.
Why is it B? Okay, here's why. Okay, stop. Here's what I don't understand. The dude that just left your company, the dude that was very well known for being the draft expert.
Who's Sam Monson?
Yeah, who's no longer a part of PFF, has him as wide receiver number 2. And then the Jets get him in round 5, and it's a B-. Like it doesn't make like your analysis doesn't add up here, PFF. It's dumb. It's so dumb. Jets don't need a full-fledged defensive tackle, Mason Graham. But they love Mason Graham's potential, so it's like, oh, A+ pick. They need a separator to pair alongside with Garrett Wilson and insert whoever the hell is going to be the other wide receiver. You get the best separator on such a fraction of a deal, and it's a B- grade. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. What is your context when you're coming up with these things? Just move on to the next one because it's going to bother me. Yeah, see, and then you get a blocking tight end in an offense that's going to run a ton of 12 personnel, and it's the best blocking tight end, and it's a C+ pick. You're so dumb, PFF. You're so smug about it too. Like you know that this is a team. What did Tanner Engstrand coach before Connor? Before he became the OC? So how is that not a factor?
And he used the tight end in Detroit 86% of the time. He
was a tight ends coach. And it's like he's getting tuned. It's like, oh, C and C+. Because if one's not that great of a blocker and the other one's not that great of a catcher. So if I add it together, wouldn't that be like a B+ A- grade as one pick? Exactly. It makes no sense.
Stutzman B.
B, fine, whatever, screw it.
Cook A.
Oh, Brady Cook's an A. Brady Cook's an A because we took him in the 7th round.
We with an A-.
That should be an A+.
Like a C last time.
It should be an A+. That C- is disgusting. Kyle Williams should be at least a B+, and Jackson Hall should be at least a B. It's dumb. It's so dumb with that. But no,
I think you did a great job, Cole. I thought that was.
You added 2 weapons that are going to be on the outside, or at least one in the slot, one on the outside. It's going to take pressure off of a 6'1" Garrett Wilson with a 6'4" Jaden Higgins. I still believe you should have gone running back at some point. That's just my 2 cents. But if you trust Braylon Allen, and if you're going to have Breece Hall for another year, so be it. You still got an offensive lineman. Got yourself, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the draft right now. Or the second best defense player in the draft behind Abdul Carter. You added him in, and you got yourself a developmental quarterback just to be safe. Overall, you can't complain that much.
1,000%, Cole. Appreciate you hopping on, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. Cole, you're the best. You got any final thoughts here before we let you go? Super lucky to have you on here every week leading up to the draft.
Just that. That's my last thought. Just that. Every team in the first round outside of pick number 32 who's going to trade on up. That should be it. I'm sorry. Like I get it. I do. But when Andre Sisco also is willing to call out and say, when you do that double bump, you're not baiting us into making mistakes. You're telling us what's about to happen. At that point, any Jets fan who has a guy that's signed to the roster that is still defending a Shadur Sanders pick, a guy that may or may not be a reason why your team stinks next year, you should not be listening to them anymore. They need to go ahead and change their ways. We need to change their ideologies. It's like changing religions, but instead changing draft scenarios. We got to do that.
Let's do it. Cole, appreciate you, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. That'll do it for us. He's Cole Thompson. I'm Connor Long saying that's all here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Back 9:30 p.m. here, EST, with Chris Grasso joining me on Next Gen Jets. Appreciate you guys as always. He's Cole. I'm Connor. JETS. Jets.